back. So, forget absolutely every single thing I said yesterday. We have breaking news in the world of film. Forget everything I said about Wonder Woman. Forget everything I said about HBO Max. Things have dramatically changed today. And, well, it's honestly, it's going to have major consequences for the industry in general. So, let's go through it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
So this doesn't happen very often, but news is dropping like crazy, or at least I did not see this coming. I thought I was gonna have a few days at least to investigate this a little bit more, but freaking WB moves fast, man. They move really fast. But before we get into it, let me just give you a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. Also, I'm live streaming on Twitch and on YouTube if you want to join me. You can find these videos afterwards. I upload them. Well, it uploads automatically to YouTube at Super Dario World if you want to check them out there. So let's get into it. This episode is going to be all about HBO Max, all about WB, and the big news that was just announced. So I'll read you the big headline. This came from an article in the Hollywood Reporter, and the headline is: Warner Brothers smashes box office windows, will send entire 2021 slate to HBO Max and theaters. What does this mean? This means that every single movie that Warner Brothers was going to release in 2021 will come out simultaneously on HBO Max and in theaters. Now, let me read you this quick tweet here from HBO Max. I got something nice this year. The biggest movie premieres in theaters and on HBO Max the exact same day, beginning December 25th with Wonder Woman 1984. Now, it is not 100% clear if it's going to be quote-unquote free, just like Wonder Woman, because supposedly Wonder Woman, if you have HBO Max, you're going to be able to see Wonder Woman. You don't have to pay anything for it. It's not like Disney Plus who recently did Mulan and they charge you $30 for it. It looks like it's going to be already baked into the cake. So if they did that for Wonder Woman, which is a pretty, like, it's a gigantic title, I'm assuming they're going to do it for everything else. So let's go through. First off, let's see the titles that this includes. It's pretty heavy. They got a lot of heavy hitters here. So just to go through them really quickly, this is the slate that they have. It's not exactly clear what dates it's going to be, but here's the slate. They have The Suicide Squad, The Matrix 4, Dune, Godzilla vs. Kong, Space Jam: A New Legacy, and those are the heavy hitters. I mean, if you want to go for the little ones, you got Little Things, Judas and the Black Messiah, Tom and Jerry, Mortal Kombat, Those Who Wish Me Dead, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, In the Heights, Reminiscence, Malignant, The Many Saints of Newark, King Richard, and Cry Macho. So you got a bunch of regular movies there. You got some moderate ones, and you got some big heavy. You got some big Hollywood blockbusters. Like Suicide Squad is going to be ginormous. The Matrix is going to make $1 billion. Dune, I said that to me that was my pick for the best movie of the year. That's it was supposed to be the best movie of 2020, and now I'm guessing it's going to roll over to 2021 because everything that didn't come out in 2020 is going to come out in 2021, except for Wonder Woman and Tenet, I guess. Godzilla vs. Kong, I'm excited for it. I've liked the new Godzilla movies. Everything that has to do with Godzilla, nothing that has to do with the humans. But and I'm excited for Mortal Kombat and Space Jam. I guess I'll see it. I wasn't super excited about it because it's not Michael Jordan, it's LeBron James, so whatever. I'm not a LeBron guy, but I like the Looney Tunes, so I'll give it a shot, even just to see if it's bad. But like, this is a big deal. And before I get into my speculations and before I get into all that stuff, what does this mean? What are the consequences? Let's see what Warner Brothers has to say about it. So they think that this is actually going to be a good thing for theaters. So here it goes. It allows us to do global release and, well, by the way, this is from Toby Emmerich he's the Warner Brothers Pictures Group chairman. Here it goes. It allows us to do a global release and a national release in what we think is going to be a checkerboarded theatrical marketplace for the bulk of 2021. We think where theaters are open and consumers can go, that a lot of people will choose to go to the theater, especially for big movies. So, what's his argument? The issue here right now is that in the United States, some states are open, some states are closed, and they can't guarantee what each state's going to do. And I'm guessing they're foreseeing that some states are still going to be a-holes, like they're here in California where it's locked down and you can't go to movie theaters. And so what they're hedging their bets in a way. What they're saying is, all right, well, where if you're in, let's say in California and movie theaters are closed, you can still watch the movie at home. You can watch it at home. And if you're, I don't know, in Florida and it's open, you can go to the movie theater. So it seems like a reasonable argument, right? Except, Florida also has the option of watching it for free, quote unquote, at home. That's the issue here. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to do like one state can do this and one state can't. But again, I'm going to save all that speculation for later. Supposedly, the reason for this, I told you, I thought that the bellwether here was going to be Wonder Woman. They were going to wait. They were going to wait to see how Wonder Woman did before they made a decision on Mortal Kombat and other titles. I guess the fan response was so positive that they were like, "All right, this is what the people want. Let's do it." And it's like I said, it's concerning in a way. And I'll get into the concern because there's actually a line here in the article that I think it's pretty on the nose about how this is going to go. But let me just continue. Who is starting off? Okay, so the CEO of Warner Studios, he cited that these are unprecedented times and he called for creative solutions. So this is his statement. No one wants films back on the big screen more than we do. We know new content is the lifeblood of theatrical exhibition, but we have to balance it. We have to balance this with the reality that most movie theaters in the U.S. will likely operate at reduced capacity throughout 2021. With this unique one-year plan, we can support our partners in exhibition with a steady pipeline of world-class films, while also giving moviegoers who may not have access to theaters or aren't quite ready to go back to movies the chance to see our amazing 2021 films. We see it as a win-win for film lovers and exhibitors, and we're extremely grateful to our filmmaking partners for working with us in this innovative response to these circumstances. So, continuing, now this is from Warner Media CEO. After considering all available options and the projected state of moviegoing throughout 2021, we came to the conclusion that this was the best way for Warner Brothers Motion Pictures business to navigate the next 12 months. More importantly, we are planning to bring consumers 17 remarkable movies throughout the year, giving them the choice and the power to decide how they want to see these films, how they want to enjoy these films. Our content is extremely valuable unless it's sitting on a shelf not being seen by anyone. We believe this approach serves our fans, supports exhibitors and filmmakers, and enhances the HBO Max experience, creating value for all. So, I mean, they're trying to give a whole bunch of positive stuff. But here's an interesting line in the article. So, this is straight from the author of this article. The unprecedented move is likely to catch theater owners off guard and upsets a model that has been in place for decades. Warner Brothers stresses that these are pandemic rules only, but once something is broken, can you really put it back together again? This also raises serious concerns about the landscape of moviegoing in 2021. So, that's the story. Let's get into speculation time. So, what does this mean for movie theaters in general? This is bad for movie theaters. This is extremely, extremely bad. Because even if a state's open, by the way, this is really good for HBO. This is extremely good for HBO Max. And honestly, it's probably really good for consumers. As an HBO Max subscriber, I think this is great. Because it means that I'm going to get 17 theatrical releases for free, basically. Well, not for free. I'm already paying for it. But let's do it mathematically. So, I pay about the cost of HBO Max is $14.99 a month. If you wanna do 6 months at a time, it's $69.99 a month, which means it would be $120 a year. So if you average those two out, let's say on average people will pay, because let's say half due monthly and half due yearly. Let's say on average it's $150 a year, right? So a person pays $150 a year to watch 17 movies throughout the year, 17 theatrical movies. So that means that you're paying less than $10 to see these movies from the comfort of your own home, where you already have your own snacks. And you could be more than one person. Like I'm gonna get together with some friends. I'm gonna watch Suicide Squad. I'm gonna get together, like my kid brother's probably gonna join me to watch Godzilla. Probably gonna do date night. Want to watch Dune. So there's a whole bunch of possibilities there, and you get a lot of bang for your buck. So for the consumer, this is great. For movie theaters, not so much, because now we have an option to watch it at home. And like I said, this is probably great for HBO Max because HBO Max is going to have a lot of people flocking to HBO Max. Because now it's like, dude, I can watch what? I can watch Wonder Woman 1984 for a cheaper than I could in the movie theater, and I can do it in the comfort of my own home. And I also get Dune eventually, and I get Tom and Jerry, and I get Suicide Squad. This is great. So I think the subscribers for HBO Max are going to skyrocket by a lot. But let's try to break this down mathematically. Now, let's say, like I said, it's about $150 a year per person. That means that if these movies make, if you get 1 million new subscribers with this, just 1 million, that means that you'd get $150 million, right? That's not even the budget of Wonder Woman. Let me just see what the budget of Wonder Woman is. Wonder Woman 1984 budget. Let's see. And I like these things because they don't even give you the marketing budget. All right, so the marketing budget of Wonder Woman is $200 million. $200 million. Like I said, you need over 1 million subscribers just to cover the budget of the film. You're not even making a profit. All right, you are only coming out even, and so you're not even coming out even. So that means that you need to get millions and millions and millions of subscribers. Fortunately, there's such a thing as a global audience. So there's 300 million people in the U.S. alone, and there's 7 billion people on the planet. So overall, this model could actually succeed. And like I said yesterday, this seems to me like HBO Max is going all in on trying to kill the competition, mainly Netflix. At least the big guns out there is Netflix, and it seems like the forces, the forces, the powers that be are joining together to try to kind of like get Netflix out of the game, or at least HBO is trying to do something to cement its place here. Honestly, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad business deal, but let's expand this a little bit more. If you're a bit if you're a bit kind of into conspiracies, I was gonna say conspiratorial, but I didn't know if I could pronounce the word properly. If you're a little conspiratorial, let's see how this is gonna work. So, HBO made a move that is clearly, and I mean clearly, going to hurt movie theaters, and I mean a lot, and I mean a lot. This is a gigantic kick in the nuts to movie theaters. Movie theaters were already struggling, and now all right. This is like, imagine that Rocky is fighting Apollo. He's struggling. He's in one of the final rounds of the fight. He's struggling. He's barely in there. He's struggling to stay on his feet, and then one of the corner guys shanks him. Just gets up there and shanks Rocky, and he's like, you son of a bitch. So, I mean, I'm trying to think here, because the relationship between production companies and movie theaters has always kind of been, the ones that have always had the advantage are the movie theater company. Well, are not the movie theaters, are like the film producers, because they're the ones that have the product. And so what especially if you're a big studio, sometimes they just flex their muscles, and they're like, for example, if I'm Warner Brothers and I'm like, hey, AMC, you guys want Suicide Squad? You guys want Godzilla? You also have to take King Richard and Cry Macho, and it's a package, and you have to buy all of them. Otherwise, you won't get the big one. We'll go to your competition. And so movie theaters like, all right, fine, we'll do whatever the fuck you want. And so it's always kind of, to me, the ones that have always held the power have been the movie producers, the studios. And so why would they want to? I understand why they want to get out of that system, and it's because it's a failing system. Honestly, new technologies are taking over. Streaming services are taking over, particularly in 2020. And so I can see why they want to jump ship. But let's get a little bit conspiratorial here. I like following the money, because usually you find the answer to everything once you follow the money. So who's making money out of the situation? And clearly it's HBO Max, but are they making enough money to cover their losses? Again, you got what is it? Well, how many blockbusters did I mention here? You got 17 movies, and a few of them, their budgets are over 100 million. So at least let's say Space Jam's over 100 million. Mortal Kombat is not that much. Godzilla is definitely over 100 million. And Dune is over 100 million for sure. And Matrix over 100 million. So let's say, you know what? Let's say overall, you got $1 billion here, right? You got $1 billion. So mathematically, it's not impossible. All they need is what? Again, if you're making $150 per person, what is it? Do you need 10 million people? Or do you need 100 million people? I think like 10 million people. So you only need 10 million people to subscribe, and you're gonna pay for it. So they're gonna make a buttload of money. And here's the thing: most people probably stay in there because they like it. Also, there's other ways to make money because you can let's say you can put a commercial before each movie. That's also gonna be interesting. Are there gonna be previews? Will there be previews before this? Will there be commercials? Is product placement going to become a bigger thing because that's the way they're gonna get more money? Another advantage that they get is they have complete and total control of their own data. I talked to a comedian about this once. He had a show. Well, he had a special on Netflix, and he hated it. He hated it. He was like, it sucks because I have no idea how it's doing. Netflix tells you something, and there's no way to prove one way or the other because it's their own data. So it gives HBO more control. So again, this is a very clever move. Whoever thought of this is very clever and very ballsy. But again, going a little bit more conspiratorial, what's the bigger play here? Why do the theatrical release at the same time? Now, you could argue that the reason why they're doing the theatrical release at the same time is because they had contracts to release these movies already. And so it's like, all right, well, we're already on the contract, but it doesn't say anywhere that we can't release it on our own stream at the same time. That's one thing. Or it could also be that if you want any of these movies to be, to be able to apply for or to qualify for awards and stuff like that, they have to have a theatrical release. So maybe that's the other reason. But what if they kind of just want to keep movie theaters alive just enough? Like, they want it to die a little bit. They want it to lower in value because like I said, they're dying. They're going down. It's hard. It's rough. It's not pretty. And they're hedging. They're like, all right, 2021, it's still not going to be back to as strong as it was. So we want the value of movie theaters to lower a bit more. And once it's at its lowest and things are going to start turning around, then we're going to buy them out. So once they're completely desperate, they're broke, we'll buy them out. And this is something that could actually be kind of interesting because let's say HBO, let's say Warner Brothers buys AMC. Let's just say that. Let's just put it out there. Then Warner Brothers could be like, hey, if you're an HBO Max subscriber, you can come to any of our movie theaters, and watch the movies for free. So you can watch them at home, or you can watch them over here in the big screen for quote unquote free. If you're already subscribed to it, you can watch any of our movies. And if you want to watch somebody else's movies, well, you pay for it. And if you're over here, you might as well buy some popcorn. You might as well buy a beer or something. So that would be another way to make money. So honestly, part of me thinks that's kind of cool. It also think that it's extremely cutthroat and borderline evil because you're taking advantage of your partner who is struggling and dying. But I guess that's capitalism for you. It's cutthroat. So there's many ways this can go, but for sure, it's good for consumers. In a way, it's good for consumers if you're trying to save money and want to watch movies. Because A, we're going to get the movies, and B, we're going to get them for a cheaper price. B, it's good for HBO, definitely because they're going to make a buttload of money out of this. And by a buttload of money, I mean a buttload of money. Like I said, they only need 1 million subscribers for them to make 150 million. 10 million subscribers makes them reach $1 billion. $1 billion. And I'm pretty sure they can get 10 million people with offering 17 titles like these. In fact, just with The Matrix, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, Godzilla, and Dune alone, they should get that because it's cheaper. It's cheaper than going to the movies. If I told you can pay $15 to watch Dune at home, or you can pay $20 to watch Dune in a movie theater with, like on a date, most people would go for the cheaper option, right? And also if it's more convenient because you're at home. So this is really, really bad for not just because of this for movie theater. This is really, really bad for movie theaters. And it's not just because HBO did this. It's because usually once one domino falls and other dominoes tend to follow. So it's possible that in order to keep up with what HBO is doing, Disney is going to be doing something dramatic as well. So Disney Plus might actually start doing dramatic stuff as well. It's possible that Netflix will be doing dramatic stuff as well. It's possible that Amazon Prime will be doing dramatic stuff as well. Because once one domino falls, others tend to follow, especially if this model proves to be successful. If HBO Max turns out that the subscriptions went through the roof because of this, well then I can guarantee you that other streaming services will do this because companies tend to copy each other, especially if they see that a model is successful. The reason why we have HBO Max is because Netflix was very successful. The reason why we have Disney Plus is because Netflix was very successful. The reason why Blockbuster is dead is because it was a dinosaur and it did not keep up with the times. And now it looks like that same fate might be hitting movie theaters, which sucks because I like movie theaters. And it sucks because technically it's not their fault. It's the fault of a pandemic. Unfortunately, what can you do? Like, I would very much like to go to a movie theater, but if I can save money and watch the same thing at home and I don't have to, and honestly, then they're all locked down here, there's not really much of an option. There's really not much of an option. And going to a movie theater is more like the romantic in me. Like, oh yeah, I'm a film guy. I like watching in the big screen, blah blah. But I could just as comfortably watch it at home. In fact, I'd be more comfortable watching at home. I don't need the big screen. I like it. I enjoy it, but I don't need it. So, to me, this is the beginning of the. Well, first off, 2020 has already been the beginning. Well, I've talked about this before. Theaters are kind of like on the way down. This is not the final nail in the coffin, but the first. Like, and the first big one. Like, HBO and Warner Brothers dropped a big, massive hammer on this. I don't see how theaters will recover. I do not. They will. Well, at least the current owners won't recover. They will die. They will have to sell out, and then we'll see what happens next. But do not be surprised if Disney Plus announced that they will do something similar. Do not be surprised if Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu follow suit. I think that this will probably be the way of the future, and the one that will reap the rewards is the first person through the gate, the first person through the wall, is the one that reaps the most benefit. So HBO Max definitely is going to be reaping the benefit, and it just honestly. I guess it sucks because it's really cutthroat. It's really diabolical. But they're taking advantage. They saw an opportunity. They took an advantage and they went for it. They took a risk and like, all right, I respect it. So it sucks. I'm torn because it sucks. It's really, really like a dick move. But I think this is the way of the future. It is. I mean, if you don't like it, then do not get HBO Max and go watch movies in the movie theaters if you want. But I think that's the same way that people who, who really, really, really like Blockbuster felt. That's at least that's my humble opinion. That's the way I look at it. But we'll see. I'll keep you updated on all that stuff because at least I find it interesting. The fate of a massive, massive industry may hang in the balance. We'll see how that turns out. At least I think internationally, because movie theaters are really expensive internationally. Well, I'm gonna stop this right now. I was about to end the show, but no. Movie theaters internationally are really expensive. And particularly, I know Mexico, for example. Now, Mexico, the movie theaters are among the most expensive in the world, and it's cheaper in the US. So what does that mean? They're really expensive for how much money people make in that country. So let's say, for example, in the US, you make, what's the minimum wage here? Like $12 an hour? In California. So let's say overall the minimum wage in the US is $10 an hour. And a movie theater on average costs you like $10. So you spend 1 hour of your life, 1 hour of your life, 1 hour of your work costs you to go watch a movie. And so if you go watch this movie, it kills, let's say, 1.5 hours, 2 hours of time. So you're getting kind of bang for your buck because the 2 hours of entertainment would be equal to $20 and you only spent 10. Now, if you went with a companion and you paid for it, then it's 2020, so it comes out even. So, to me, that's kind of the way I look at money. In Mexico, it's different. Minimum wage in Mexico is not $10 an hour. It's like, let's say, it's $10 a day. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's even less. I think it's like 100 pesos a day, and 100 pesos is like $5. But let's just say it's $10 a day. No, and so it costs you about, let's say, $5. actually no, $5 makes more sense because it's 100 pesos. Sorry, so let's say it's 100 pesos a day, minimum wage, just to put out a number out there. And so it costs you 100 pesos to go watch a movie. That means that in order for you to go watch a movie, it costs you a whole day of work, right? 8-hour shift, 6 hours. I don't know how much they pay you. I don't know. Like, honestly, like I said, I haven't worked in Mexico in a really long time. But yeah. So in the US, it costs you an hour of your life to go watch a movie. In Mexico, it costs you a whole day if we're talking minimum wage exclusively. So imagine all of a sudden you get the opportunity, like, hey, you sign up for HBO Max and it costs you like about, it costs you what would it be? About, well, $15. Like, it would cost you like 3 days work, but you get not only all these movies, you get all this other content along with it. So I can see it. It's a sexy deal, man. It's a sexy deal. And the beauty of it is that consumers are the ones that are going to reap all the rewards in a way. Because, I mean, if HBO does it and Disney does it and Amazon Prime does it, then we're reaping all the rewards. Because it's like, aha, we're getting all this stuff and we're saving money. So it's good. That's the good part of capitalism. The other part, it sucks that a whole bunch of people are going to lose their money. They're going to lose their jobs. And the industry is going to suffer. And who knows what will happen to date nights from in the future. But, so I don't know. Like, it's a tough spot. But like I said, I'll follow the story and I'll keep you updated. Because at least I find it interesting. So there you go. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. Live streaming on YouTube and on Twitch at Super Dario World. As always, thanks for listening, and I'll see you again next time.